Welcome viewers. I want to take you through on how to use your Google account. That is, if you have a Gmail account, you have a Google account, how to use it to have a data bank in Google Sheets of exams of up to 1,000 questions. And then how you'll be using the 1,000 questions. Whenever you want to set an exam, you pick specific questions that you want to meet specific objective, and then they are generated automatically as an exam that you set at that time, and give to you, and also the marking scheme is generated at the same time. So I'm going to show you on how to use the Google Sheets to generate automatically anytime that you want questions and answers. You generate them, specific questions and answers from the 1,000. They are generated and you have now an exam without much struggle. The only time you have to work is when you want now to have the data bank. You have to put all the questions in the Google Sheets so that anytime you need them, yours is just to pick the questions that you want, and then an exam is generated automatically, and you have the paper saved as a PDF and then it printed. Follow me to the end and see how it works. I want to demonstrate first of all, like the one I've done here. I have written the school, this is where I'll be having the title. I've written the school and the Boys High School. This is a midterm exam, and time I want another exam, I'll come and change the other exam. So I'll be having all the 1,000 questions here, several questions that I need, like 1,000. I can have 1,000 of them, and then whenever time I want to pick a specific question, you just pick. You can see here, you just pick the question that you want. If I pick like I want this, I don't want this one, this is what I want it to be number one, it will be the one appearing as my number one. It will be the one appearing as my number one. Yes, it will be the one appearing as my number one. If this one, the one I've picked, is the one as this one is my number one. If I didn't want this, I want, if I pick now this one, this will be number one. This will be number one because it's the one that is coming ahead here. So I pick this, I want this one, I want also this one, I don't want this, or I want, and then I also want this one. These questions will appear and the marking scheme, and their marking scheme will be appearing here. So I have the question and the marking scheme. Now if I want to print this work, I'll come here and highlight this work. The all questions that I've picked, and I write them, the answers are here. I'll do the same for the answers after I'm done with the questions. Then I go to File, I go to Download, I click on PDF document. You can have it as open document format, or Microsoft Excel, but I may opt to pick it as a PDF document. And then you see it's appearing. I pick portrait, but I change here. I pick on selected cells so that I specifically have the exam I want. Now that I have the exam I want, if I click export, it will be downloaded. I start downloading. So if I open this one, you see I have downloaded it, and this is an exam already generated and downloaded. So I can print this paper and give to my students as an exam. So of course there is something that if you didn't want these lines to appear, of course you could have removed the grid lines view, and then you undo on the grid lines, you uncheck the grid lines so that they don't appear. The grid lines will not appear, so that we don't have this line that you have seen here. Some lines that appear as here, grid lines will not appear. So you could have removed them. And then now I'll go ahead and now continue with the other demonstrations now on how to make this happen. So I want you to follow and see how to make this one happen. Of course, you have to first of all know that you are to open on your Gmail account. You go on these three dots, You make sure you go on sheets, and then on the sheets you go on blank sheet. When you talk about blank sheet, you can see it happening here, opening here. You resize this. You resize this one. You come here and resize them to a size that you want. Yeah, a size that fits maybe the questions you have. Now I can let me copy some questions, some few. I just want to copy some few for the purpose of demonstration. So if I go there, I paste on the second one. I'll paste it there. I paste this one. I can resize. Let me resize the cell. Let me resize the cell well here. You come here. Yeah, if that arrow appears, I can resize up to that point. So after resizing up to that point, I can pick now a question like this one. I can copy the question and then I paste it here. Let me resize a bit this one. Just resize. Now let me use the two questions for demonstration. Of course, this way you'll be writing your school like and the Russia boys. Have all the questions. Have to 1,000 questions, and also have the marking schemes here. Let me resize for the marking scheme. Resize for the marking scheme. Let me pick the marking scheme from here. Let me use this one. I pick the marking scheme. This one is here. I come here. I pick it here. I paste it here. That's the marking scheme for the other question. Let me also have it. I copy. I paste it here. I paste it here. So this one you can resize, but for the purpose of demonstration, because I don't want to, okay, I can resize. It's okay. So that it fits. I can resize. Now you have the question and answer. Now this one I need a checkbox. Checkbox, you go to insert. A checkbox usually has true or false. So I come here and I click checkbox. It is already appearing there. So I copy this one. If I copy and then I paste here, Control V, I'll be having it. You can uncheck. Then I have a question. I have here what we call I can have here now a list of true or false, because checkbox has true or false. So I have a list of true or false here. So I click here and then I go to data. Then I click on data validation. I want a list of items, and I write the items is true, comma, false. It must be a comma. They are separated by a comma. False, true or false. So if I click save, they'll be appearing here. Then I check true. So if I check true, now I use the filter function. I write equal sign. Any function starts with an equal sign, filter. So if I write filter, it appears here. I click on it. So I want to filter from A2. This is A2 to this one, which is C3. A2 from where the question starts and up to this is the range. So A2 colon. So you have a colon there to C3 to C3. This is the range. You can now be having A2 if you have done up to C to C1000. It is A2 to C1000 if you have all the questions. So the range here is A2 to C1000 if you have done several questions to 1000. So comma, then after that, which criteria do you want? I wanted to use this C2 to C1000, but in this case I'll use C2 to C2 to C3. So I want it comma, then I want it to use C2 colon C3. If C2 to C3, C2 colon C2, it must be a colon, C2 to C3, so to C3. So that is where I want. If C2 to C3 is equal to this D2, it's equal to this D2. then it has to filter. If they are equal to that, it filters. So you cross your bracket, then you have enter, you press enter. So it is not applicable because there is nothing that has been checked. So if I check this question, it appears. If I check the question, it appears. Then you resize and the marking scheme. So you resize the question, you resize this cell for the question. So I can resize now this cell. I can resize this cell. That is for the question. I can resize it further. And also I can also resize this other one. 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 Just you resize well. So you'll be having your questions here. So if I take this one, you can see all the two questions appearing. So from there, it's only that I placed here where we have true or whatever. So I could have placed it, the equal sign I could have done here so that we appear here where I can write now. I can write the title and then all that. So you'll be having all the questions appearing where you have set. Then you do the procedures I had told you. So first of all, I can I write and go to view. Then you can remove the grid lines. If you remove the grid lines, you can see now the difference. If I go here, I check. I go to file. Then I go to download PDF. Then I go to I want selected. You can see it is appearing nice. If I now have portrait, have it in portrait, it's looking good. Have it in portrait, it's looking good. So after having it that way, now you can go to export, then have it downloaded. You can now have it downloaded here. If I open it, you see the exam is now good than the other one. Then you print and give your students. So that is the simplest way of making automatic exam generator in Google Sheets. This work can be saved in the Google Drive so that anytime you need it, you can get it. So that's the simplest way of doing it. And if you find this video helpful, like it, share, and subscribe to get more updates. Thank you for listening.